I never make it on time.
One day you will. We should get a remote. And then you can just click it. I don't know if a remote really exists for this.
A wireless mouse.
Sure.
Oh, a wireless mouse. I
And just like put it in my pocket after.
Or just leave it on the table.
You know how tacky that would look.
It would look tacky. I do want to eventually put something like up here.
Yeah.
So if you get then you just put it like
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
We all sound terrible. When you say tacky, I feel like you cracked like 3 times. What's starting already?
Let's get wild.
Welcome back.
Take a breath. It just like a zoo stuck.
I can get you a cough drop.
All right. Welcome back to the What a Time podcast. This is episode 12. Episode 12. And we are going to be on the topic of freedom. Freedom part 4. That's wild. This will be, for now at least, this will be our last freedom episode.
I don't know what you said. What if it's not the last one?
I said for now.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Because it could be coming out.
2 hours from now, when we're finished this episode, we're like, so we think we're going to do it.
See you for freedom part 5.
Yeah.
3 hours later. Love that for us.
We're just making 3-hour episode, so this is the last one. We have to stick to our word.
We have to stick to Ethan's word one of these whole things. Wow.
Yeah. Let's pray to get started in this, and then we'll kind of hit off and do what everything does, I guess.
Do what everything does. Amen.
We're all on like
Disclaimer, we are sick, we have no voices, and we're sleep deprived.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
We love a disclaimer, yes.
Yeah. Disclaimer on the screen.
Just put disclaimer on the
Yeah, on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Okay. All right. Father, I just want to thank you for bringing us here tonight. We thank you for the opportunity that you have blessed us with to share the things that you want us to share on a platform in front of people. Lord, I just ask that you just speak through us tonight. Let your will be done, and what needs to happen, let it happen. I pray for our voices, that we don't sound like 12-year-olds in puberty, and we're able to get through this episode, and in your precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
I don't know if closing my eyes for prayer was the right thing.
I
necessarily just like, oh,
Yes,
wow.
no, we're praying.
We're all closing our eyes. We just hear
Deep prayer. Yes, that's it.
Yes.
It's just we all wake up in like an hour and we're like,
We all fell asleep. Imagine. Whole podcast was us literally sleeping just like this. Wow. Just like,
and then it out.
It just goes.
It's a 3-hour episode.
I speed it up like the whole entire way. Oh,
You
Lord.
just SpongeBob 1 hour later.
Yeah.
Someone wakes up and they're like,
All of a sudden, I hear an amen super loud. I love that for us.
So we'll see you next week.
Why can I just see that really happening?
I hope you enjoy our nap time.
we just play it off. We were really deep in prayer.
Hope you become one a nap time.
It's not only a late episode, but it's also just a snack.
Our late night episodes.
Imagine we went live for the first time. It was like this episode. We just all fall asleep.
It's like, wow.
Deep meditation.
We go viral just for making fun of us.
That's great.
All right. Where are we starting? Where are we starting?
I can start.
All right.
Because we got to get through our things and then we can go from there. Wow.
Disclaimer time, or preface.
Yeah, I'm not a voice since Thursday. And we're recording this on Monday. So
We are, yeah. Happy Tuesday, by the way. Hope your Tuesday's going good. We couldn't do it yesterday, but sorry. Keep going.
Because we were in a cabin all weekend with children. And that's why we're sleep deprived. Not these two. They came one night, but
Yeah.
And are
they're still sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Not as much as the others, but still very
wait. Wait, that means we're the irresponsible ones this time.
The irresponsible.
That makes
one.
Yeah, because we're slap happier than they are.
Natalie. Us responsible.
They've had more sleep than we.
Responsible for the podcast. It's
Responsible for the
crazy.
podcast.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
crazy.
I just think I just heard trumpets.
You know when we really heard trumpets? When Maddie and
Oh,
Ethan
yeah.
agreed on something last
Yeah.
night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That the red
Wow.
sun chips are good.
I mean,
I looked at
I
Rocky
think
and I
they're
said, "Did you hear trumpets?" And he goes, "No." I said,
mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, yes,
Yes.
I did. I'm hungry. I'm in there looking for food in the refrigerator. And Courtney across the cabin goes, Rocky, did you hear trumpets? I'm like,
No.
It's like 2 in the
I'm
morning.
like, oh, yes, I did, actually. Yes.
2:00 in the morning, scavenging for food. It's trumpets.
I'd be terrified.
Dude, I'd
if
cry.
I heard that,
I'd
I'm
cry.
like coming up the stairs and like, you guys hear the trumpets? And I'm like, no,
Like, no one else
no.
hears them but you, and you're just like, I just wanted a snack and there's trumpets. And you're like, Natalie, you should go to bed. Just go back where you came from, please.
You wake up and you are not in your bed anymore.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Wow, we have to
Lock
get back
in,
on
lock in.
topic.
We are not doing that. Children.
I was very concerned.
Oh gosh, here it comes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to What a Time Podcast. Yeah.
Dude, they're gonna think we're high, bro. They're gonna think we're high.
I think it's important to say this is how legit conversations go when we don't have
Sleep.
sleep. Like,
So I think I added up earlier, how much sleep I've had since Friday to now Monday, and it's been about 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of one night.
Yeah. When I went last night, when I was downstairs with the kiddos playing Mafia, I was like, all right, y'all, this is like the last hand because I've been up for 22 hours now. Like,
Yeah.
it has to.
Yeah, I had to sleep.
it's 4 a.m. We're done.
4 o'clock.
I went to bed
No
at
way.
what, 3:30.
I was bed like 3:45.
Yeah. I fell asleep around like 3:45.
Yeah.
That's because the kids were like, go to bed.
Yeah,
So they had to wake him up again.
Yeah,
Yes.
No, I was awake that time.
Did
I
you
was-
hear me talking about them waking you up? No.
Nope. You were asleep. When
He's
they
like,
walked over and like, we're gonna wake him up. He's like, I'm awake.
No, I stood up.
I'm gonna go to bed. I'm like, of course you are, because
And then I
about to
thought-
send
and then
you
I
to
like-
bed.
I'm awake.
I was like
I'm
trying to
going
find my hoodie.
Yeah, the
'Cause I
hoodie
thought
that
I
you
had-
didn't have on
I could have
yesterday.
sworn I had a hoodie on yesterday.
When the kids go,
Ethan, we saw you yesterday.
I
he's,
know, I thought I had one.
you know, their favorite word right now.
No.
I'm not saying it. He's
Yeah.
because he thought he
That's
had on a
best.
hoodie.
That is best.
It was great. It's
All right.
such a fun time.
Okay, anyway. This is a weird transition.
That's okay.
Okay, let's see. My story time. I was thinking on the way here, I've never actually told this whole thing.
Wow.
Like, ever.
Like to nobody.
Nope. And it was snippets, but not like the extent
Okay.
of like when I was little. So we'll start with when I was little, I had night terrors. And they would vary like on how they were. But some of them would be, it was like, some of them were just like trippy. Or like whenever I would close my eyes, like it's really weird, but I'll try to explain it the best I can because I've never been able to explain it. Because I would try to, like, when I would get up with mom, she'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But so, like, it was one where, like, I was a person and I would stand up on the roof. And whenever I stood up on the roof, like, everything just, like, fell. And I felt like I was falling endlessly. And I would, like, open my eyes and when I would close them again, it was, like, the same thing. Like, those types would be some of them where, like, literally when I would close my eyes, like, it felt like my whole body was moving.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then, like, I couldn't get out of it. Or there were some that were, like, looking back now, knowing what we know now, it was, like, attacks in my sleep. But I was, like, really young, so I didn't realize that. Because of, like, the things that were happening in the dreams. And, like, it was a lot of belittling happening in the dream. It was, like, about how I wasn't good enough, or how like no one cared, or how it'd just be easier like if I just like wasn't around. Not like suicide. I never got to the point of suicide with it, but it was just like that is, I figured out that is where my perfection feeling rooted from. Because I felt like it was everyone that I knew that was always in my dreams, and it was like I was never good enough in them. Or like if there was someone to go, I was always going to be the first one. And I didn't realize at the time, I was like 5 and 6 when this was happening. Like I didn't know. It was to the point of I had a CD player in my room to listen to music. That's how old I was.
CD player.
Yeah, I had a CD player in my room.
We love a CD player.
Yeah, and
What'd you have, Rocky?
what'd you have?
A CD. Actually, I had a tape.
Cassette tape.
It did both in record.
Okay, we had a
eight-track.
CD player that had a cassette thing in the front of it. But I would listen to CDs. But I was like scared, which I don't realize until I actually think through my story about how some of our stuff is like mine and Natalie's is similar, just hit us in a different way. Like she would have like panic attacks when she would go to sleep, and I was afraid of like night terrors hitting when I would go to sleep. But like I would tell Mom, because it was a CD, once it was done, it was to turn off. I was like scared, like what if it turns off, and then like my brain's like I start having the dreams again, and like so then it was I couldn't fall asleep because I'm like, oh no, it's on track 7 and they're only 12. Like I have to fall asleep quickly, or like like that kind of stuff. So that, I was joking last week. Mom was talking to someone about potty training their kid, and like how like they did it and stuff, and she was like, oh, Courtney was the easiest one. She literally just like picked it up and just like when she started, she was just fine. And I said, of course I did, Mom, because that's where it all started. Like not actually, but that's what it feels like. Like I don't remember a time where I didn't feel like I had to like perform or like meet the standard, even though like there wasn't a standard, but there was a standard that I had set. And if I didn't meet that, then I wasn't worth anything and no one would love me. And it caused like it wasn't anxiety, but it caused if I knew that I couldn't do it well, I would like freak out if I knew that I had to do it. Like it would be like, okay, like cooking used to be really hard for me. I'm getting better. But cooking used to be difficult because people would be like, oh, just put like a dash of that in. And I'm like, but I need to know exactly how to do it so I can do it perfectly. Like if you don't tell me exactly what the standard is, how am I supposed to meet it? Like that type of thing. And which again, I've just recently been working through figuring out why all of this thought process was this way, because it was,
What's a dash?
Oh, a dash.
Yeah.
Like
Little pinch.
Okay. I mean,
They're like a little.
But see, I'm like, my dash could be different than yours.
But a
And-
pinch is different than a dash.
yeah, pinch
Yeah.
is like
Pinch
literally, you
is-
put it in your hand.
Here we go.
dash is like
dash is
A dash to me is just a bigger, like it's a pinch.
Instead of
I'm so sorry. Keep going.
no, but that's where my brain would go. It was like, okay, but what is that? What is that? And
What does
but
that look
we'll
like?
just cook it until it looks like this. I'm like, but how long is that? Like, if I don't know how to do it exactly right,
that's so wild.
but like that
I
was
still do that. Like cooking steak.
this is Ethan in your life realizing he has perfection issues.
Alright. Carry on. Let's not do that one right now.
Stop you, Ethan.
What? You said don't have pride stuff.
Me talking about when I figured out I had perfection issues, and Ethan's like, I did that too. I'm like, wow, congratulations.
Wow. The
I
Lord
asked
reveals
you,
things
I asked
every
you guys
day.
last week if there's anything else.
You just exposed yourself
did
there.
not get the list that we all.
Did you not get the email?
We sent it to official.
Don't want to talk podcast @gmail.com.
Sorry.
No, but that's okay.
Imagine my mom emails. She's like, Ethan, you also struggle with this.
Oh my goodness. Getting an email from your mom is just wild.
All the kids start emailing.
Carter,
Okay.
Carter the critic message stitches one of our things on TikTok.
He starts rating us as people.
oh my goodness.
Ethan was only telling 8/10 of his story.
Yes.
So he gets 8 out of 10. Okay, back to the real topic. Again, this is just how it goes when we don't have sleep.
That's how it goes all the time.
Yeah, it really is. I can't talk.
That's okay.
But, let's see. So that happened, and it carried until very recently, when I got delivered from that. But, like, I went to college, and I was the student that I had a full-time job, and I went to school full-time, so I would be up until 1 or 2 to make sure whatever I was going to do was going to get a day. I made Dean's List every semester, because if I wouldn't have, they don't care about that when you
Right.
graduate.
They don't care.
Like, when
At
you
all.
apply to jobs, they don't ask for your GPA. The most they ask for is your transcripts just to prove that you actually have the
graduated,
degree. They don't care about your GPA with it. What?
I was thinking C's and D's get degrees.
Oh,
And that's not ideal to go by. That's not.
But that was part of the problem too.
Mm-hmm.
So, nothing.
I feel like I missed something like super duper.
We're good. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just thinking the C's and D's get degrees. That's it. That's all.
Sorry, I was looking at something for what I'm going to be talking about later.
Oh,
just making sure I have
okay.
my
I was like, you're
timeline.
going through your
No.
email right now.
I needed to make sure.
So I'm
I
gonna
had my-
email this into
Yeah,
Ethan right now.
Imagine.
I don't want to forget it one more time.
I'm like, starting my rating right now. I'm like, just going down the line. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Everyone else is a 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But my program that I'm an occupational therapy assistant, and the program that I go into, only 20 people get in. And they said, like, it's a community college, so not a lot of people applied to it. But they said they were like, it's like 15 or 20 that didn't get in my year. And then if you get below a B on any exam, you're kicked out of the program. Like, you get below a B, and then you have one chance to retake it, and then you're done. So that just added more of, not only do I need to, do good, but how am I supposed to tell people that I'm not still going for my degree because I failed out of it? And then COVID happened, and there was a bunch of stuff with, like, where I almost didn't graduate because of field work and, like, field work stipulations. That was a whole nother thing. I was like, I would rather just, like, I almost just didn't do field work because I would have rather said that I chose to stop versus them telling me that I couldn't graduate because of field work stipulations. Because getting into field work, I graduated in, when did I graduate? 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, I graduated in 22, but you still had to, like, places still weren't letting you come in for field work. And they, like, the boards had stopped accepting virtual field work as a, like, form. So that was when it was, like, rough. Because I was like, how am I? And everything, anytime that I did anything, the thought process was always, like, how am I supposed to explain this to people? Like, it was never that, like, I was disappointed in myself because I figured other people would be disappointed in me. Like, and everyone's like, you're just so hard on yourself. Like, you be easier on yourself. I'm like, I'm hard on myself because, like, I think everyone else is going to be. And if everyone else is going to already be hard on me, then it's easier if I'm already hard on me, so then they can't be the first to do it. Like, if they're going to judge me anyway, then I'm just going to start it so that they aren't the ones to, like, throw the first stone pretty much. Was, like, the thought process behind it, which, like, is so twisted, but
That makes sense.
when you're in it, you don't realize how twisted it is. And everything was just, like, I lost my shit. Oh, but, like, performance-based, and then leading to recent. Well, I guess we have to go back a little bit. Yeah, we have to go back a little bit. So when I don't even know how old I was. I couldn't tell you how old I was, and I couldn't tell you, it didn't last long. But the only time that my perfection came into clutch was when there's not anymore, but there was a generational issue with pornography in our family. And the only thing that, like, really helped me with that, and the reason that I told my parents, was that when we were really young, we had Safari on our phones because they, like, just didn't think about it, because I was the oldest, so they didn't think about it. And I couldn't get search history to delete one day. So then I told them, and then I was so
I'm going to expose myself before I
Yes.
get exposed.
and then I was so scared of them finding out that I was just like, okay, not looking at anything ever again. So I can't tell you, like, the range for that, because but, like, that's, like, how, and that's the only time that it was helpful, you know, like, but then you get to, like, closer to present day, and I didn't realize, but it was starting to interfere with, like, ministry stuff. Like, Natalie and I are in charge of the worship team at our church, and if, like, I told her after I got delivered that, like, it was just so free playing, because if I messed up, who cares? If I stop playing, who cares? Like, if we don't do the song that people want us to do, who cares? Like, and
Does it really matter?
right, because it doesn't. But if people know that you're the one doing it and they don't like it, then, but it's not us doing it anyway, because there's no way that the songs would match up the way that they do if we were the ones doing it. But, you know, at the time, your name's on it. And I also thought, like, if I hit a wrong note at the wrong time, people get distracted by that, and that's on me if they don't get their deliverance, because I messed up. So then they heard that, so then it got them off. But then there was going to be a deliverance service happening at church, and the night before, I hadn't been delivered from anything yet, and I'd hit a point of, like anytime there was a deliverance, anything, like, I felt okay. And they were always just like, well, if you feel something, come up. If you need prayer, come up. And I was always like, but I'm fine. Like, and genuinely, but it got to the point where I thought, it's going to sound weird, but I was like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
That everyone around me is getting this and feeling something, but, like, but I also didn't want to go up, because at the time, you know, I had to keep my image up, that if I went up and nothing happened, then I felt like I messed that up. Like, if I go up and then there really wasn't anything, then, like, oh, Kortnee, you went up for nothing, you know? But so the night before, I was like, okay, I just want to, like, make sure I'm okay going into this. And so I started doing, like, some self stuff in my bed, and then I could not tell you what I said, but that's when stuff started for me, because I was, like, dry heaving and everything. I was like, oh, okay. Literally could not tell you a thing that I said, though. And then that next morning on the way to church, I literally just could not stop crying. And then I go to church, and I smelled burning twice. Once was at, like, a random time, and then once was when someone else was getting delivered. And then my dad talked to someone else, and they said they smelled burning during their deliverance one time. And like, I had my hands up like this, like, while I was talking, and I promise I opened my eyes at one point because something was touching me here and here. Like, something was literally holding my arm up, and I looked over, and there was no one next to me. I was like, what is happening? So then after church, like, the whole drive home, I just couldn't stop. Like, I went to lunch with Natalie and Kaylee, and then the whole drive home, I was just crying, and I texted Mom, and I was like, can I come over? And so I went over, and I sat on the couch, and we're just talking, and then I was like, okay, so what's going on? And I just like start sobbing. Dad was like, what's happening? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, is this out of frustration? I was like, no. And I was like, it doesn't feel bad. And he was like, is it like, I don't remember what all he missing. And then he goes, are you just feeling loved? And I was like, melted again. And he was like, I thought so. And I was like, I just can't explain it. Like, every song I'm listening to, like we all have said, every song I'm listening to is just hitting so different. And I was like, I feel like it's actually talking about me, and it's talking about me with no matter what I do. And Graves in the Gardens was my biggest one, because in the second verse says, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you see them all, but you still call me friend. And that part I was like, okay. Like, all right. I hear what you're saying.
I hear you, I promise.
And I literally just sat and like cried for forever. And which was also a big thing, because I was always the tough one when I was little. Like, people, like, I was telling this to Mom one time, that people say stuff and they don't realize the power of their words sometimes, and you don't even realize the power of words when you're listening to them. But it's like, oh, if we watch this movie, don't worry, Kortnee won't cry. Like, well, Kortnee's not going to cry if this is sad. Like, and they just said it, like, it said no, so nonchalantly. It said no nonchalantly is what I started
And
to
I
say.
heard that, and I was like, oh, she's choking.
So nonchalantly, and with like no meaning behind it. But then you start to like take that on of, okay, well, everyone expects me not to cry, so I can't. Everyone expects me to hold it together, so I can't. Everyone expects me to be the one that has it together, even if other people don't, so I have to. So even like just sitting there crying was like, okay, like something has changed. And then Dad was like, well, let's just do a check while you're here. And then he starts like, just like, spirit of this, spirit of that. And I don't remember any of them that he said, except for he went through. And then he was like, did you feel anything on any of those? And I said, perfection. And Mom was like, yup. And I was like,
Thanks, Mom.
thanks.
Mom's a wild one for that.
Which I didn't even know there was a spirit of perfection until he called it out. And then I got delivered of that. And it's like, I'm glad that I got delivered from it when I did, because like the things that I am being called to walk into now, I could not have done them if I was so worried about being wrong.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was texting Ethan earlier, and I almost told him that like I feel like it was on purpose that I didn't do my story the last episode, because I wouldn't have had the peace that I got this past weekend if I would have told it before then. And I need to be able to say it from the side of, I was trying to find the word for this when I was talking to Kayla, Rocky, and Ethan earlier, and I still can't figure out the word for it, but like my story is obviously not finished, but it feels like maybe a benchmark. Maybe that's the word that I'm looking for. Like, it's hit like a benchmark for everything that's been leading up. Like, I've finally been able to start using it, and it has like a purpose to it. Because it's obviously not finished, but until this past weekend, it felt like it was like in a middle area of like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I've not been able to do it yet. Or like I've not done it completely yet. But I had like some like prophet stuff spoken over me before any deliverance stuff started happening. I was like, oh, okay. Sure. And then
I never would have guessed.
Really?
me neither.
Never would have guessed. I was the teacher was going through my head.
Teacher would not have been I didn't think I had anything in 5-4, honestly. I was like, no. But then there was just confirmations and stuff of like what I'm supposed to be doing. And this past weekend, we took all the youth group to the cabin for the weekend for what we call a winter retreat. And all of us collectively sitting here, were able to begin walking confidently in the callings that the Lord is placing on our lives. Rocky worded it very well when he said that. Like, we've always joked about how we're like the ABCD team. Like, before we were, like, there were like 5 of us that had to come back from winter retreat to make sure everything would get done at church. And I was talking to Natalie this morning, and we both were like, we're just tired today. Like, like drained. And not drained to the point of burnout, but just like worn out.
A couple more hours.
Yeah.
Few more
Just a couple
hours
more
of
hours.
Like
Just
physically
Just let me
and
recharge a little
like from warfare. Like, I woke up feeling like I had fought.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I told Natalie, I said, we have never been the ones at the front line. We've always been, or not, I think Natalie said, she's like, we've never been the ones at the front line. We've always been able to just like stay in the background. But this weekend it was us. Like, and Rocky said, like, we are the B team now. Like,
Not in a bad way.
No,
It's not a bad
not-
thing.
yeah,
not
Most
in a
people
bad
think
way
when
at
you
all.
say that
Yeah.
it's a bad thing, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes,
It's
like,
I'm here, man.
authentically-
yes,
Yeah.
like on Sundays we get to be the B team when that stuff is going on, but then we have our place in other areas where then we have to, the A team isn't there, so now it's our turn to step up and take over. And the Lord works in crazy ways, and we had the kids speak revival over situations in their life, and my situation,
What?
the adults
Sound like me.
went first. And this situation that I was speaking revival over was doubting that the Lord's calling on my life, that like He could do it, because it's like I can't do it.
This guy.
This guy.
Yeah. Like, I can't do it. So like, but also like, who am I? You know, but if He can deliver me, and if He can use anyone else, then like, who am I to say that He can't?
Right.
So I was like, I'm speaking revival over any like doubt that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because like, it's not, any calling that you step into is scary at first.
Yeah.
And then when like you can be wrong, which is why I said the perfection thing, like, you can be wrong.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, it's okay if you're not always right, like, with it, because you're learning, and you're learning how to communicate with the Lord properly. And if someone would have told me that, like I was told that at the beginning of this, if someone would have told me that before, I would have been like, if there's a risk of messing up, I'm not doing it. And I just would have kept quiet, and I would have kept everything that I was hearing to myself, to the point of He would have just stopped telling me, because if I'm not going to do anything with it, what's the point?
Right. It's like that parable of like the Lord gave, or that multiple seeds. Well, this guy got 5,
yeah.
this guy got 2, this guy got 1, or whatever. However
Yeah, and he
it
just
goes.
buried it and didn't do anything. And he was like,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have realized that that was what I was doing, but I would have been so scared of being wrong if somebody asked me something that I like wouldn't have said anything. But the Lord heard me say that I was speaking revival over that, and it felt like every few minutes yesterday. Yeah. And then I would say something, and then Rocky was like, wait, what'd you say? And it was exactly what he had got to, or it was exactly what, like, one of the other youth leaders, she was like, I'm like seeing this, and I was like, wait, but like I saw, and it was like everything went so hand in hand, like we were such a cohesive group, and like seeing that and knowing why it was that way was like so cool. And then Rocky brought to my attention, which I was thinking about this again today, but I didn't even think about this, that one of the things that I said yesterday, I told Kayla and Rocky a few weeks ago, like, I was like, I'm seeing clay. I don't know why, but I'm seeing clay. Whenever I think about winter retreat, I'm seeing clay. And then yesterday I'm talking about, I said that we were like potters yesterday, and we were like doing patchwork is how I like worded it. And Rocky said, didn't you say something about clay a few weeks ago? And I was like, oh. So like,
I
just,
guess I did.
yeah. So, and it took me a while, because I was like, I don't think so. But then like, as I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And just like that stuff. And then this guy.
What did I?
This guy.
This guy.
Hi.
You know exactly
Wave
what
at
you
the
did as soon as
camera.
I started saying it. We would just be in a room, and he's like, okay, Kortnee's going to. Kortney's going to tell us what's been going on. Kortney's going to tell the
Kortney,
kids
what's
to go
next?
pray. Kortney, what are we doing next? And I would have no clue. And at one point, Ethan even asked me, he's like, so how are you closing out the night tonight? And I was like, I don't know. was like, I've never known a single word that I'm gonna say.
Admit.
So Rocky just looks at me and then I just start talking. But I don't know.
The favorite line that you did last night was, "Why do you keep doing this to me?" I'm like, first of all, it's not me.
Shoot the messenger.
It was like
Literally.
it was like every time.
Yeah,
like he'd be like, all right, everyone come sit down. He'd be like, okay, Kortnee. I'm like,
I just had it.
like, what are we even doing? He's like, I don't know. What are we doing? I'm like, I don't know.
But you did know,
Yeah.
and normally we would have never even went to that level of stuff. It'd be like,
Yeah.
this is what we just talked. Okay, team huddle. This is what we did. Okay, now let's go, and then we figure out how to make that happen.
Right.
And then last night, just everybody listening to what the Lord was telling each of us at a different time. It all led to, okay, what did Kortnee pray about and ask for revival on the night before? Okay, watch what I'm about to do to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, again, it's all part of this episode for you.
Surprise.
But it was just crazy. Like, even Rocky told me, he's like, okay, tell everyone what they're doing, because we were having all the kids go pray. And he's like, tell everyone what they're doing. And I was like, he's like, all right. And that's all he told me was tell them what they're doing. And then as he's talking to the kids, he goes, all right, Kortnee's going to tell you what we're doing. And then she's going to send you off. Oh, Kortnee's going to send you off. And I was like, what is happening?
But did that make sense?
But that's like at the moment I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then when I sent them off, I didn't say anything that we had planned on doing. I was just like, okay, do this and this and this and this and okay, bye. And we were supposed to tell them like, and then like we'll come back in a few minutes, do another devotion, we'll go back off again. And then as the night goes on, like Rocky got something that we were supposed to do the second thing. I got something that the whole night would have been ruined if we would have done the second thing. And it was like, oh, and I looked at Rocky, I said, wait, I never even told them to come back. And he was like, nope. And I was like, typically, if I would have done that last year, I would have had like a checklist of like Rocky said to tell them to come back at this time. He told them to pray about this. He told and I looked at Rocky and I was like, I didn't even tell them to come back. And he was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, oh. And he was like, but good thing you didn't. And I was like, well, oh.
But why?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And I was like, what is that? Because what you just said. Oh, okay. But I think that's the gist of it.
What a time.
To be continued.
What a time.
Dun, dun, dun.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, are you sending an email about me?
No. I'm
To be
saying
continued,
no, because you
Kortnee.
said you're like on
Next
like a benchmark.
That's what
Oh,
Yeah.
I felt like I was a
I
bit.
thought he was ending the episode.
I did too.
No,
I was like,
no.
I thought you were talking
I was
about the
like, dang,
benchmark.
we've
Then I
been-
was like,
we've been
wow,
cut
an email
off.
from
It's like we've been cut off.
Right.
We're so sleep
Yeah,
deprived. We're
benchmark.
like, okay, we're done. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
story is TP.
Yeah.
That makes
You
sense.
got it now.
Yeah, I
That
see what
makes
you're
sense.
saying. I was like, I have to tell. I don't know what else to tell it then. Like,
Everybody post
Next
this on
email's
the-
for Kortnee.
No, I'm just kidding. Carter, where's Carter?
That's wild, man. Oh, jeez Louise.
Yep.
But I think it's cool. I was telling somebody earlier. It is just
Just a little bit. Bro, you were saying it all weekend to the kids, but just a little louder.
we've heard you talk before.
We've heard you talk before.
We've heard you yell. You can talk loud.
so. I said.
Don't do that.
You said louder. How much louder do you want it?
I'm about to put a headphone warning.
You got two options. right
Disclaimer and headphone
We
warning.
only have 2 levels in this place. We can That was pure impulsive thoughts right there.
That
That's what that was.
Note to self.
So, like you were saying,
Mm-mm.
he said it's gone.
It's cool to see Kortnee just walking out in her stuff. You know what I mean? And I think it doesn't make sense to any of us, but you know what I mean? Like when it's going for us, not it doesn't make sense to any of us for Kortnee, but you know what I mean?
None of us understand.
I had no
what
idea what was Kortnee. But to see it, to have like a front row seat
Yeah.
for this, it's cool. 'Cause, I mean, like we said, it's just the cohesiveness of and how it makes sense.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's
And like
cool.
seeing things literally unfold, like
Yeah.
dude, the whole night, like me and Natalie, it was just like, yep, this one, and then this one. Oh wait, this happened. Wait, but yeah,
Yeah.
like it was just lists of things
Wait.
that like
I had to say something crazy because the podcast was about these two and them like not liking each other and Natalie hating him. Last night,
It was
okay,
complicated.
I'm gonna give you a point of view, okay? Last night we looked and Natalie, and she goes, "Let's do this thing," and I said,
Oh my word. I'm gonna live that one down.
"What is happening?"
oh lord, it's gonna be like a picture like on a t-shirt.
It's a get along
Me just sitting here like,
If these two can get along, anyone can.
Yes.
Shut up and sit down.
I think literally that just goes to show like when you're going in a battle, those things don't matter.
Yeah. Well,
You're not
and
concerned
also
about
like Natalie, it was told to her recently that the reason that these two like butt heads is because
not butt heads, it's butt heads.
no, I wasn't gonna call it out.
the reason they really get along is because they sit right next to each other on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's what Natalie has to like starts talking too much.
You ever see me just like, she like punched me.
One week he's gonna have a spasm and start twitching. And the box is like, Natalie, you really have to stop.
Natalie tased Ethan. Yeah.
That's the whatever.
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
The whatever.
I kept thinking cover photo, and I was like, it's not cover.
I would have said cover.
But what was I saying?
It was told
those
why
two.
these two-
Yes, is because their like callings in ministry are like two that go against. Like obviously the whole team works together, but theirs are.
The approach.
I go this way, you go
Yes,
that
I
way.
said they move
approaches are
very differently.
and
They
the
move
thought
very differently.
process behind it. Is
So
very
whenever
different.
Ethan moves, Natalie's like, "Why is he doing that?" And then Ethan's like, "She just needs to go," and and it's because their like callings are to move this way and this way. So when Natalie moves this way, Ethan's like, "But come over here," and then Natalie's the other way, and it's like it makes sense.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like
just-
even growing up.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Because I've always made the comment like he's just pushy. I don't understand why he has to push everyone into what he wants to do. And like I feel like now knowing things like it
That's
all
actually
makes
He has to be
sense.
pushing.
Yeah, it all makes
Legally,
sense.
yes.
Illegally.
Oh boy. There
I don't
we
know
are
if you saw
again.
Jared last night. We were sitting on the couch and we were just like talking, and then he looks at me. He's like, "Oh no," he like said what he needed to say about like the question that Kortnee asked all the kids, and he looked over at me. He said, "Guess what?" I said, "What?" He said, "Team Evangelist." I said, "Yeah!" And I like gave him a high five. It was awesome.
He got
yeah,
so
you're
giddy
against the
too.
world.
Yeah.
But you know how cool it is that like we all now know our like roles. So last night we were able to like plug people in with like certain people. Like Rocky came up to me, he was like, "I gotta tap you in," and I was like. He's like, someone's having a vision. I was like, I don't know how to do that. I can't even serve on my own. And he was like, well, go talk
I'm
to
like,
him.
well, that's not me, so go now.
He's like, go.
Go.
And I was like, I literally
He's
sat
like,
down.
running away.
I was like, so what's
Yes, actually.
He literally did. He was like, that's the fastest I think I'd seen him walk all weekend. He was like, I need you. I was like, why?
I'm like trying to get up the steps, like you can't see because we had the light.
Yes.
Don't fall, but I need you to go.
But like, we're also in a point where we can look at the kids and be like, oh my gosh.
Not
We
the
can-
mic down again.
We can look at the kids and be like I'm learning too.
Mm.
Like I'm fresh in this
Yeah.
too, which is what I told him last night. I was like, listen, like if you want to figure it out, let's figure it out together.
Mhm.
But also yesterday, I don't think any of us could have been given more opportunities to use our giftings and step into our callings than what we were given.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I promise it felt like every 2 minutes it was like, okay, well, I have to do this now. Okay, well, I have to do this now. And then someone else is like, I'm going to do this. I'm like, good, because I'm going to do that like where you were. Like the cabin had 3 levels. And I told Rocky that I was praying that everyone be placed on each floor and then like where they needed to be. Because the kids kind of kept moving around. And I was like, place them on the level of the cabin that they need to be. And then it came to mind and I was like, that's kind of weird, but okay. And I was like, place them like chess pieces. Like put them in the cabin where you want them, like chess pieces. And then there were some people that we all knew Rocky needed to talk to. And one was sitting on a bench in front of the fireplace. And Rocky talks to him. And then I turn, like, he gets up and he's talking to somebody else, and like the kid was. And then I look over, and then as soon as that one gets up, another one is sitting on the bench in front of the fireplace. And I looked at Rocky.
We're both
Yeah.
staring
And I said,
We're
go
like,
on.
so?
And he was like, what? I said, your next one's waiting. And he was like, what? And I looked at him and I said, I prayed they would be placed like chess pieces. And he just placed your next one right there.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way that I think that even our prayer stuff was not tested, but we were told to pray things, and then we were seeing the results of that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously God can do it without us. God can place those kids without us, but my faith wouldn't have grown in a sense if I wouldn't have said it. I would have just been like, wow, what a coincidence. They keep sitting there.
What a convenience.
Like, everyone that he needs to talk to just keeps sitting there, but then I could be like,
That same flipping spot.
in the exact
Literally.
same spot. There were,
Literally.
was it 3 or 4? At one point, you had like 4 kids around you
Yeah.
sitting over there. And it was all, I mean, they just migrated. Like, some had been upstairs the whole entire night. Some had been in the basement the entire night. And they just come up to the middle floor, and they just sit, and they're just staring at the fire. And I was like, go on.
I'm like, wow. I was like, why are they all over there?
He literally was. He's like, why do they keep going there? I said,
That's where you
Hit him
are.
with one of these. The whole night, we were all just.
yeah. Someone would walk out of a room with someone, and we're like, and then if they wouldn't answer right away, we're like, where we at? Like, are we good on that one, or do we need to keep like?
This one else need to go.
It's funny because both of mine were upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both of his people were
Dang.
upstairs.
that's wild.
Mine were scattered and came together.
Yeah.
His all came.
Literally, they were scattered.
Both were
which
in the
made
basement
sense
and
of
then
why.
walked all the way.
Well, and then they literally came to him because I told him that he needed to talk to one because we figured out what he needed to talk to him about. He turns around, he almost ran into the kid.
Yeah.
So literally, I'm not even
I was
kidding.
like,
I
oh,
said, well,
hi there,
you
buddy.
go.
So, hey, why don't you come with me real quick?
Yeah, like literally, he turned around and almost hit him in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like,
All right.
Nothing like being smacked right in the face with something that you need to go and deal with.
Never happened.
Literally.
Never
Wow.
happened.
That's wild.
literally.
Jeez Louise.
What a time.
What a
We could do a
time.
whole entire episode on this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
Legitimately.
we so could.
We
Like,
really could.
Wow.
it was just
Because of the overwhelming miracles that we saw,
Mm-hmm.
the goodness, the love,
yes.
you can't explain it.
Yeah.
If you don't experience, you can't explain it because
Which is why it would take a whole episode to even attempt.
Right.
if you don't understand
Off camera, we can't
what
even
the
explain
true
it.
Right.
love and goodness feels like of God
Yeah.
feels like,
Yeah.
and you won't understand.
Yeah.
I was literally there for one
Legitimately. Yes.
one night, and I have like been nonstop. I've been so emotional today, just like sitting in like the goodness of the Lord and what He's done. And I literally, in the middle of my shift at work today, had to go lock myself in the bathroom so I could just. I literally just sobbed because I needed because I found something out today that was from last night. And I was like, I literally saw the name pop up on my phone and I said, I'll be back. And I already knew it was about to
I'm
go
gonna
down.
go.
And it's just crazy. And I was telling Kortnee this morning that like, I was literally there for one day, but like the love that I feel for these kids and like the connection that was so strong last night, like I felt like I had been there all week. And stop.
The one who said,
Stop.
literally,
Oh
she
yeah,
walked
okay.
out.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna interrupt.
Yeah.
The one that hey, you just want to go watch this movie with all of us and all the kids? No.
I'll go separately at another time.
Yeah. What time are you guys going? Okay, I'll go the hour after you
Yeah.
guys go.
I'm like,
I
can
don't
you
want-
please help us drive? No, I'm not coming
I
back.
have to work and do nails and do hair and
Do hair.
get my toes done and you know what I mean? Like there was
I can't go.
There was always
always something.
She kept saying, I'm not coming back. I keep telling
I'm
you
not-
this.
no.
Once I'm gone, I'm gone. And
I'm not
I've
doing
already
nothing with
left.
those kids. No.
Yeah.
And then what did you just say about the kids?
Wow.
Can you say that again? Just one more time.
Just the love.
Okay.
Like, and I don't even know all of them on that level, but it didn't even matter. Like, and I feel like I'm learning from them too. Like just
Poking
watching
the wrong
them.
way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Yeah.
a little interesting sometimes.
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't think I learned
Ooh.
this much from like 11 and 12-year-old kids.
yeah, exactly.
Like I'm over here getting slapped in the face,
Like,
both
hang
physically
on.
and mentally or spiritually.
Mentally.
Mentally.
Physically and mentally.
I mean,
well,
you're
all
right,
three.
though, but you're right.
Yes.
It literally
Yeah.
is all three with
Yeah.
with this group of kids.
Yeah. And it's-
I got jumped this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, Courtney committed. Never mind.
What? You have to finish that
You have
sentence
to finish
because
Like,
that's
no,
what
like,
it sounds so
committed
like.
murder.
Like you were about to say that you jumped a kid. That's a felony. But no one saw it. No witnesses.
Except for literally
It was
now
his
you just-
brother.
It was my brother.
It's his
Hang on,
brother.
I've got the video and photos. We'll just-
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So right here.
He has
Maybe not.
right there is. No, the kid wouldn't stop poking me, and I said, "Try again." And then he poked me and ran. So I picked him up, and
Once you run,
it's
dude.
game over. And then he goes, "Please stop! Please stop!" I said, "That's what I thought."
It's all love.
Man.
Okay, next.
Is that me?
Yep,
Surprise.
because you already started.
Yeah,
This is the last
I
one,
did
isn't it?
actually.
Did you share everything when you did yours?
Yeah. I'm just here for moral support.
Well, I did.
Oh, stop it.
You're right. I did share a lot of my like testimony and story already, but in like the censored version. And there's always this one piece, and it's how it's been, the one piece that I never want to talk about, never could talk about. Because I've talked about the anxiety, the depression, the suicide, and like as weird as that sounds, like that's the easy stuff for me. That to me is like the more socially acceptable things to talk about. So I don't struggle saying that. And that's not really where like my living in hiding was, I guess. And so I have shared this. It's not any easier. I feel like I still struggle with it. It's getting there. This is actually this may be the first time that I've talked about it since like my full deliverance from it, honestly. Now that I think about it, aside from like here recently. But so Kortnee like started like touching on it earlier. So there has been, at the time, I didn't even know, because I didn't even know what the heck generational curses were, because I was uneducated on anything on that type of stuff. I was dumb. But I want to say it was around, I think I was around 10. I'm a very like curious person. I always want the answers to stuff. And I guess like my mom said like when I was little that she told my dad that I scared her because I was always wanting the answers to everything. Like they would tell me something and it wasn't enough for me. Okay, but I need the details to that. I need to know like what does that mean? In-depth answers. And she was like, that makes me a little nervous. And so because of that, I tend to, instead of asking, I want to find that stuff out for myself, I guess, which is not always a bad thing. But as a child, when like there's things that you wonder about and you get curious about, you take it upon yourself and it can lead to things that unfortunately you live with for a long time. And so unknowingly, there was a generational curse of pornography addiction in my family. And just as Kortnee did, I fell into that, but I did not come out of it for a long time. It was something that genuinely for me just started as a curiosity thing, and it just spirals. And next thing you know, you're years into it. Like, how did I even get here? And unfortunately for me, like, I don't remember much of life without that because it was just from such a young age. And I feel like For like over half of how long I dealt with it, it was on my own. It was in secret. No one knew about it. And I think a lot of it, first of all, it's already like a very like secretive thing. No one wants to talk about it. No one does talk about it. But being a girl makes it that much more difficult. No one talks about the girls that struggle with this stuff. It's a very like male dominant thing. It isn't, but socially it is because it's just not being talked about how many girls deal with this. And so like for me, it like made me feel even more like disgusting and like I can't tell this to anyone because why do I struggle with this? Like I shouldn't. Like this is crazy. And so it was our last building. Kind of toward the end of us being there, so I don't know how many years ago that was. It's been a few years ago. I like finally decided like it was during service, and I was like, I need to say something. I'm finally gonna have to like tell someone about this. And at this time, I had found out about my dad's struggle with it. And when I first found out about it, I was ticked. Because in my brain, which now I understand, like, and I feel like me of all people should know because I know how secretive that stuff is. But in my brain, like, when I heard him, I didn't even find out I heard him from the pulpit saying on stage. And I was like, and in my head, like, if he would have told me that sooner or shared that stuff with us, like, could I have gotten out of this sooner? And so, like, for a while, I was kind of blaming my dad, like because you chose to keep this a secret, now I've been struggling it. That is not the case at all. And everyone has to come to their own healing and stuff. And no matter if it wasn't going to matter because when I did share, it didn't change anything. I shared with my parents, and they were like, okay, well, first of all, we need to filter your phone. And good thing, but it kind of, I was actually just telling this to Kortnee, it added on to the insecurity of it because when I like signed up for the program and all this stuff, immediately all I start seeing is all this advertising for all these men, and it was support groups for men, and these emails that I'm getting, it's pictures of men talking and I'm like, I feel like crap right now. Like the fact that I have to have something on my phone that grown men deal with, like this is horrible, like this is bad. And it made me feel even worse about it. But it's what I needed. And so like I still have it to this day. I have like a filter on my phone for the internet. And basically what it does is it tracks like my searching and all that type of stuff, and it will screenshot my searches of the day, and then every morning it will send an email to me, and then you pick your accountability partner to also receive those emails so they can kind of keep you on track and stuff. It'll kind of tell you
Off drop.
you could have an off drop.
If I had one on me, I'd get you one.
They're right there.
Red or blue?
Red or blue? The red pill or the blue pill?
I'm so sorry.
I mean,
Dang, son. We're all sick.
So sorry. This is horrible.
it's probably like distant, I would imagine.
Wow, two people got up.
Dang, this is the emptiest.
I thought you were gonna go chase
I was
it.
to give everybody a balloon. I thought you were going to
You
chase
just-
one.
You can pick your poison.
Literally.
Oh no. Oh no.
You're next. How are you work this one?
You gotta have both.
Okay, thanks.
Alright, lock in.
She doesn't love saying that. That's what I told the kids all weekend. Anytime the kids are going crazy, but all right, guys, lock in. So now when he says test, I feel like I'm one of the children.
No, I'm just saying.
And the kids started doing it too.
Yes.
The one was like, all right, guys, lock in.
And then they're like,
Of course.
all right.
And so like you pick your person, and of course, like when I was setting this up, I was like, oh, well, I'll just have my mom keep an eye on it for me, because then I don't have to tell anyone like outside of my parents. And the very first thing my mom said was, you can tell me anything, you know that, but just so you know, I can't be your accountability partner. And I was like, seriously. Seriously. I was like, that is so dumb. Like, that is dumb. And so
That's dumb.
so I was talking to, and this was all like in the same, it was on this Sunday. So it was this Sunday night, and I was talking to my parents about it. And like I had a long conversation with just my dad, because like my mom, she was like, I can't like relate on this level. I can't really speak from that side of it. So like, if you're comfortable with it, I want you to talk to your dad about it. And I was like, okay. So we're talking about it, and he was like, you know, like you're gonna have to find someone, this and that. And it was so crazy because I'd already had the name pop in my head. And then Dad was like, hey, have you thought about so-and-so? And I was like,
No.
actually,
Not once.
now that you mention it. And he was like, okay, well, then you need to text them right now. And you need to set up a day that you can meet with them so you can share, so you got to get the emails put in, you got to get this thing set up. And I was like, what? like today? And so I did it because I didn't really have a choice. Now that I had kind of put it out there, everyone knew what I was dealing with. So I picked my buddy,
Surprise, surprise.
and it's Kayla.
Oh, wave at the camera.
So I texted her, and we met at the last church building.
Literally so wild. Yeah, I literally say, hey, can we get together? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, let's get coffee. She's like, and we can meet at the church. And I'm like,
She said, ooh. Because that was not a conversation I wanted to have, like, over coffee in the middle of the coffee shop.
Right.
Hey, by the way, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, that's crazy. And so I
Just put your email in. That's all I need.
Don't even tell her.
Can you
what
just
it's
send me your
for.
email address?
and then just getting random emails like, how did this happen? What is this?
So we met. I shared with her, got everything set up, and from then on, like, she gets my emails every single morning of my phone activity, and there's been times that it will flag things, like goofy things.
No, because hold on, I'm interrupting. Me and Rocky have the same thing. Like, he was my person that I went to and everything. Bro, I was like on Hollister on my computer,
Yes.
and he got an alert. I was
Yes.
like, he sent it to me. He was like,
Mhm.
I was like,
We were on, no,
we were on FaceTime.
we were on FaceTime
Yeah.
because we were talking about something on the slide. He goes, hang on, I'll look it up. And I'm like, hey, buddy,
What are you looking up?
what exactly tab do you have open?
Yes. And that'll be like sometimes.
It's wild.
Then sometimes like, oh, things will flag because it's like green, yellow, and red, and some
Yeah.
things will
Yeah.
flag yellow.
And
I was like,
yeah, you should get
And
that
I,
one.
right. And I get the email, and I'm like, what the heck was I looking at? So I click on it, and I'm like, are you for real right now?
Yeah.
But so
Some things are so
sometimes it's a
funny.
little, yeah, it's like, yeah.
This is all things.
And there's definitely some times where I'm like Googling something, and I'm like, Kayla's gonna have fun looking at this later because she's like, what the heck? But anyway, so I definitely thought like that was gonna be it for me. Like,
Excuse me, sorry.
Excuse you? Is that what you just said?
Excuse me.
Oh, I just said excuse you.
Sorry, you were talking.
but like that was gonna be it for me. Like, I told my little group of people, and that was it. Well, no, it wasn't. Because when you're an addict, you find
Mm-hmm.
any way. It doesn't matter. You will find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. And so even after that, all these years of like having things, I would say it's probably been like what, 4 years or so, something like that. that I've had like the filter and stuff on my phone, but it didn't matter anymore. But because I had told people, then it became even more like, well, now I really can't say that I'm still dealing with it because I've already shared this and everyone thinks that I've come out on the other side of it. It was real easy for me, like a one and done type deal. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And one day I'm going to get this thing figured out. Because again, that's addict mentality.
That's so
I'll figure it out on my own. I can take care of it. If I want to stop, I will. Like that was always my thought.
Yeah.
I can. Wow. I don't have to do this. I don't have to. I just feel like it. I just want to. And so when I'm ready, I'll stop.
Wow.
And that was always my mentality. And because of that, like obviously it has kept like a hindrance on my relationship with the Lord. And I just always felt like I was walking around like a hypocrite. Like even if I felt like I had everything else like under control, there was always that one thing that was always there. And I was like, I know that I can't do what I need to do for the Lord in fullness as long as I'm keeping this thing. But you get used to living in secret and you get used to hiding things. And so unfortunately, like I felt like I was always, that's just how it was. And like, there was always a part of me that was on edge because you were like, oh, somehow it's going to get, I remember always hearing growing up, like, one day your sin's going to find you out. And I was like terrified.
Yes.
Like one day, yes.
Please
And
don't
I
find
was
me.
like terrified that one day someone was just going to walk up to me and be like, so I know you're dealing with, and like that, that scared me. And so it's been like a struggle for, it's been about 11 years now. And so then I had my first deliverance that I talked about when I like shared part of my story with like getting away from suicide and that type of stuff. So then I remember that I was like, well, now like I'm not going to go back to it now because like I feel like I've gotten prayed over. Like now I got to get myself together. I got to get myself back in order. And I was good for a couple weeks, but that's how it goes. You get a couple weeks in, and then the routines start happening and the patterns start happening, and then you fall back into it again. And that's what happened to me. And what's crazy is I had also shared on the stage on a Sunday morning that day when I shared my story on the stage the day after my first deliverance. And I told that in my story, like, oh, yep. And then I used to have a porn addiction. And so then, and to me in my brain, if I said it now, I have to stop because everyone knows. It didn't matter because it's a secret thing. So no one was going to know if I was still struggling with that. I can say that I got over it. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. And so it kept being an ongoing struggle for me. And then this is what I was looking at. August of this past year. So right at 6 months, actually, coming up on 6 months, I finally was like, I have to talk to someone about this, like actually. And I kept seeing people getting freed and delivered from things. And I was like, I need to know if there is something in me that's causing this to be more difficult than it needs to be, or if this is just me. Like, I think I just need some prayer with this. I had never had anyone actually pray over me for this. It was always a thing of, let me share this. Let me have someone keep me accountable. Like, I had never asked, like, can you please pray for me with this situation? And so we like have a deliverance team at the church. And like every third Saturday of the month, we do like deliverance services here. And so I was talking to my mom and she was like, well, I think that you should sign up. And I was like, me? Like, you know how dumb that looks? Like, I'm like my dad being who he is, like, I'm not going to sign up. I literally know the lady who gets the email. I have her number, and I'm going to sign up through the church's website. Like, she's going to be like, why the heck is she emailing me? Like, I was like, but those were the thoughts that were running in my head to try and keep me from doing what I needed to do. And so I remember sitting there with my mom, and I was like, I can't. And she was like, Natalie, you have to. Like, well, she was like, I can't do it for you. Like, I can't want it. But, like, if you want to do this, like, this is the best thing that I can tell you to do. And I was like, oh. Because I also know everyone that's on the deliverance team. And I was like, great. That means I have to expose myself and be like, oh, just kidding. Never got over it.
Yeah.
So I was so anxious, but I got on our church's website, went to the deliverance category, and I had to like put in my information, put in a description of what I needed prayer for,
Oh Lord.
and sent the email. And of course, no one judged me like I was expecting. Not that I was expecting, but like that I was like afraid of, like nothing like that. So I got my time set up. I got the confirmation email, hey, confirming that you're going to be at the deliverance service on August. And I was like, yeah,
I'll be there.
So I can remember like leading up to the service, I was good. Like I was ready to go. I was crying a lot, but I think it was because like I was just like very emotional. And like I worked that morning and all that type of stuff. And I remember like getting ready to come to the service that night. I was great. And I walk into the church and my mom was sitting in here. They were like having their little powwow. And she looked at me and she was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah,
I'm great.
yeah, I'm great. I'm great. And she was like, okay. And I was like, that was odd. That was really odd. And so I'll tell that later. But so we get in a circle, and they like had me circle up with all like the women. And I just like started talking. And what's crazy is when you start talking about things, you can't stop, and things that you don't realize are there start to surface, like feelings and thoughts that you have.
Yeah.
And it turns out there was a lot of deep-rooted things within this addiction that I had. First of all, I've always dealt with a lot of insecurities, just like within myself and like the way that I look and that type of stuff. I've spoken a lot of word curses over myself. And in that, I had become very much like I'll probably just be single my whole life. Like, I would say that all the time. Like, I just accepted the fact. And I had genuinely come to accept the fact that I was going to be single forever. I was like, oh, me and my dog, like, we'll be fine. Like, I was making plans to get my car paid off, to move into an apartment, just me and my dog this year. That was the plan for this year.
Oh Lord.
She's the only one in a relationship.
Yeah, literally.
But so as I'm talking, though, I come to realize that I had come into agreement with that because I felt so unworthy of having a man love me because of what I dealt with, that I had shut myself off to any type of relationship. And in talking with that, I had this horrible, horrible fear that I was going to get over this, and then I was going to enter into a marriage and it was going to cause it all to come back. Because a lot of people expect that like marriage is going to fix this. I was afraid that if I wasn't by myself anymore and I wasn't just having to worry about my issues and I had both of us, that it was going to cause me to spiral again. And I was like, I don't want any part of that. I only want to have to worry about myself. I don't want anyone to have to, like, I didn't want to tell anyone. I was like, the thought of having to sit down, like, whenever I had a boyfriend and be like, hey, like, this is what I, like, that terrified me. And so always growing up, I was like, well, I'll just figure it out beforehand. And then no one ever has to know. Well, now I kind of had put it out there. And so I was like, eventually I was going to have to tell someone. And the thought of like dating someone and then having to be like, hey, by the way, like I was like, he's going to leave me. Like, that's how it's going to be. And so I had completely shut myself off to ever entering in a relationship, ever getting married. Like, I was fully content to be single. And so when like we were doing my deliverance and stuff, that had to get spoken off of me. And as well as what turned out to be the generational curse of the addiction and stuff like that, which to me made a lot of sense and it explained things, because I remember growing up, I was like, I don't know why I struggle with this. I never had something that like triggered it. Like, it was genuinely just like looking for answers, and I was curious and stuff like that. Well, it was a generational thing. And so what's crazy, though, is the fact that I have been able to break that off so my children don't have to deal with it.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so, like, that is crazy to me.
Boys.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Boy mom.
Anyway, but so after the service was done, I was talking to my mom, and she was like, "You remember how I asked you like if you were okay when you walked in?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, when I walked into the church, my eyes were black. Like, not even the whites of my eyes. Like, literally, you couldn't see the whites of my, everything was black. And I was like, what the heck? And I guess, like, they saw that when they were praying. Like, one of the ladies who was praying, she looked at my mom and she said, do you see her eyes? And I had no idea because I didn't, and I stay fully aware for all of my deliverances. Like, I've never had a time, and that's the issue too. I have a hard time, like, getting out of my head with it. But I was like, that is so crazy because I felt so good. But it was almost like maybe I don't need to go. Like, I think if I'd have felt like crap, I would have been like, I need to get myself there. But it was almost like you're fine.
You're good.
Let's just go home. You're fine. And so in August, I got delivered from this. And I have had I know everyone's experience is different, but I have had a very easy, like, that was it for me. Like, it has not been a struggle since. I keep the filters on my phone just to keep myself accountable. Like, I'm not going to get too cocky and be like, oh, because I've been delivered of this, I'm never going to deal with it again. Like, I don't want to get to that point of being like, well, I don't need to worry about it. Like, I want to make sure that I'm still, like, making the steps I need to make and making sure that my recovery stays where it's at. And then what's crazy is when we were recording last week, I knew that this is what I was going to be talking about. And I thought about that. I'm going to get emotional. I got really emotional after the podcast, and I was talking to them when we turned the camera off, and I was crying, and I was like, it's crazy to me that, like, I'm getting the opportunity that I'm going to get to share this, and I'm going to get to be what I needed at my age for the other girls that are struggling with this. And I was like, I can't wait to see that. And before I even had a chance to record it, I have already met my first girl that I am getting to walk hand in hand with her through this. And it's crazy to me, like, in a week. I was expecting that, like, okay, I'm going to share this, and then, and then, like...
And God's like, watch
and then eventually I'll get to, like, I'm going to put it out there. And then eventually, and I didn't even have a chance to put it out there. Like, I remember talking to her, and I was like, so actually, you're getting a preview, because I'm going to be sharing this on the podcast on Monday. But, surprise, here we go. And it's crazy to me that, like... And something that I expected, even after I came out on the other side, I was like, it will be like years down the road before I can speak about this. And the fact that it's been 6 months, and here I am, like, not only speaking about it from the other side, but getting to help someone else with this. And I think, like, for me, I feel a very strong, like, I want to be the voice that can talk about this stuff and let the other girls know, like, you're not alone, and this is a struggle. You're not less than, you're not unworthy. Like, this is real. You're human. And just as any other struggle in life, it doesn't care what gender you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't worry about that. It's going to get whoever it can. And with everything being as accessible as it is, it just makes it that much more difficult to escape it. And so I think, like, I just want to be able to put this out here and let anyone who is struggling with this know that I'm here. I'm still learning things, but I'm here, and I can speak from experience that it doesn't have to be this way. And you can learn to love yourself and learn the love of the Lord through this and come out on the other side, and you're just not alone, because I feel like for a long time I felt that way, and you're not.
Amen.
So,
That's
good.
Awesome. Oh, what a time.
Man.
What?
That makes me nervous.
You're thinking something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He is.
He's gonna say, "Oh, I can't say I'm tickled."
Yeah, that was so annoying.
That was annoying.
That was.
So,
Dang on. Just to hear Natalie say, to reach out, I'm here. My goodness. I mean, Natalie, really, I know my voice is low again. Sorry, because I'm trying to put my thoughts through on this one because, man, it's cool to see, just like with Kortnee's thing, it's cool to have a front row seat to this. I mean, I'm just here now to say reach out.
Now you know how we felt when you said reach out.
Okay, but I know. But still, okay, that's why I'm the one that's acting like this because y'all already did this.
No, it's still wild.
It's wild because I keep
wild.
thinking like me and Natalie never had a real conversation until like 4 months before we went to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like we legitimately
I don't know what was
widow
going
away.
on.
What do we?
Literally.
Yeah.
One day we were at group and I was just like started talking to her and I was just like I talked to you on the way to Ethan on the way and I was like I just had a real conversation with Natalie and I think that's like really the first time
Yeah.
and I was like,
I was like,
what?
I know. I was like, I know. I'm like, I know. It's wild. But, you know what I mean?
Over here, like freaking out over the phone.
Ethan's like, I've still never had a conversation. I've known her for like 18 years.
But it's just, I'm so amazed at what the Lord does over and over again to turn all of us in this group of hot messness. That's what I got.
Hot messness.
Is to have this platform and to put it out there.
We have
And just-
every angle of it too.
Yeah.
Right.
We have something from every
That's so
single
crazy.
department.
And I think that
Every department.
what's so
Every department, yeah.
so
Like
wild
Walmart.
is that when it came to everything, like we used to be timid people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were
For the
very
most
much
part.
in the background. Like,
right? You know what I mean? Like
Timid people?
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's why I said.
That's
Why I
for
said
the most part.
for the most part. I wasn't going to call you out.
Timid,
on it.
we're timid with
you
sharing our crap though.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. I was
yeah.
gonna say, like,
Still timid.
I'm always.
well, we'd all been raised in church or in church for a long time, so why would we have a story?
For right.
Why would we be struggling with anything? Why would we have had anything? That's just my thought process.
Yeah.
That's just what
Yeah.
like I was told.
Timid in that aspect. for
Yeah. Like that's what people said. Like so it's who I
And to
am.
make it to the place to where all of a sudden,
Sure. We have a podcast.
in the boldness that has come out,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean,
Wow.
to think about, the person that used to throw up to show up to sing on Sunday night for youth group or whatever, you know what I mean? To sing
Yeah.
Sunday mornings or whatever, to say, hey, look, I'm here. I'll help you through this. And her phone number is going across the screen right there. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
yeah.
actually wild.
that's
I love
just, there is no other explanation but God.
Yeah.
And the freedom that he gives us to finally put stuff down and see this happen. I'm just like, because if you watch last week's episode,
Which
I
you need
think-
to if you didn't.
because it won't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the end of it,
That was aggressive.
I literally, I say, we all good? And if you look at me, I'm staring Natalie down. I'm like, we all good?
Yeah, that's what I was like,
Like, we all good? What's
That
the
was
saying?
a
All
mess,
hearts and
Sinai.
minds clear? And she's just like,
Yep. It's like,
Then we turned the camera off and I was like, what is going on?
right.
That's when I was over here. I turned off the computer and we all
Brother, we're on
collectively
the
just.
side.
it was all like circle. I was like, oh.
So. Wow.
I think it's really cool, for sure.
It's just,
It's so wild,
I
man.
am overly proud of us,
Yeah.
especially you, Natalie. Like, it's just cool. It's cool. Never would I have ever thought. It's just cool. maybe it's because I'm tired. I don't know.
So you're gonna wake up in the morning and be like, "Whoa!"
I'm like,
Hey.
we need to delete the last 5 minutes because I didn't know none of
can't believe
that.
how amazing you are.
Like, whoa. Okay.
My favorite person in the whole world.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just cool.
What a time.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have been able to use your gifting properly if you weren't willing to share your
Yeah.
story. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
literally with your gifting.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
teaching and walking along with people. You can't do that if you can't
I
relate
was
to them.
She said
literally
that.
gonna say that.
You said it.
Mm.
I was
Mhm.
literally
Yep.
gonna say that.
Yep, you said it. Yep.
What?
Just put it out there.
Teaching
Her gifting.
is teaching.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
I think it's great.
I'm starting to have a problem.
All of us
Are we
is-
supposed
all-
to be secret?
I'm starting to have a problem with this talking.
not secret, but Natalie's face when you said that, she was like,
I went,
Oh.
yeah, like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just,
See, I don't really
yep.
know what I'm saying.
Yep, she really did that. We were connected.
Yeah,
honestly.
yes,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I said.
Yours is the only one that you haven't shared on camera.
His gifting?
Yeah.
And Rocky said, I'm gonna keep it that way.
What are you, Rocky? Child of God.
Yes.
oh God, yeah.
Amen and amen.
All right.
Uh,
Okay.
Anybody have anything
Oh,
from
yeah.
last night before we wrap this up?
Jesus.
Oh, we.
I could talk forever about last night.
Oh yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Last
I
night is
can't-
when they came to Winter
Yeah.
Retreat, by the way. We had stuff start happening on Friday or on
Saturday night.
Saturday night, but they got to experience it yesterday.
I can't elaborate on mine just because of
Yeah.
confidentiality, but
Big
I
word.
I literally sat for probably
It was like an hour.
no, it was like at
It was
least
the entire time.
3
I think it was
hours?
3
The whole time that we were
Yeah.
walking
It was
around,
the
right?
Holy
because we thought we were the last ones.
Yeah.
She didn't come out until the end.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight, and I think we started before 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
At
I
night.
told the kids,
I just
Be
remember
down here
coming
at
downstairs and
night.
seeing you on the couch.
It was 3 hours.
Yeah, I remember walking
Holy-
out and it was like 12:01, something like that.
it,
Wow.
like our first song hadn't even started. And
I remember
Yes.
y'all walking in
Because I
there.
was snatched up real quick.
I was like, oh, okay, well, here we go.
I remember hearing the door shut and I look over. I'm like, you know what? I already know.
I don't know, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I sat and literally just listened. Just I said what I felt I needed to say to open up the floor for her to say what she needed to say. And then I just sat and listened, and just knowing that I can be a safe space for someone, and to know that they can trust me with whatever is crazy to me. And to know that I now have my own little accountability buddies.
Accountability buddies, yay.
It's crazy.
buddies.
So it is kind of weird. Yeah.
Like a grandkid.
That's a great.
I've always been grandkids, so may the Lord.
Granny kid.
I go by Mama Kayla.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be
Mama
Granny. That's
Kayla.
crazy.
Granny.
So I'm gonna the same. Grand.
Grand.
A grand.
Ew.
Actually, I'd love
That's
to be
really
called
cool.
grand. Grand Kayla.
I
I
thought
kind of hate that.
I've already said it, but I thought it was really cool just to months prior to Winter Retreat, leading up to Winter Retreat, just things that we've heard and everything like that, being in the moment, and we're literally seeing them, how we talked about earlier. It wasn't a genuine actual list that we wrote down, but it was okay, there's this thing, oh, and then there's this thing, then there's this, and then this happened too, and it was just one thing after another, and oh, Kortnee said something last night that literally in a good way. It was we're being these. How do you say it? We're being the.
We're being for these kids what we needed when they were there.
Yes, holy
We're
crap!
cutting off the stuff at their age that we're just now getting cut off from.
Yeah.
Because 11, 12, 13 years old, that was when things were starting for me. And like, it was wild, man.
And I think to know that like we can be what I feel like is typically lacking in churches and youth groups, which is the space and the opportunity for them to lay it all out there instead of feeling like they have to show up to youth with it all put together. They can show up with it all laid out and be like, I know this is the place that I can go to and no one's going to judge me. We can be the opposite of what is expected or what's typical in youth groups. Is when you walk into a church, you have to put on your happy face and they know they can come in. I know. Stop. I already know.
We can be this in youth groups. We can be that in youth groups.
Anyway. But it's just crazy, like, to see that.
Alive?
Oh.
Last alive, if we said alive, she's like, guys, I
would've
can't
instantly
go.
been
I
done.
can't get it off. I already told you that. I have to watch Ari. No one's going to be home. I cannot go. I'm not going and camping out in tents with children.
And literally just the mention of it, just for her to go.
Sighing, knowing the answer, but not wanting to admit it.
No, and she'll be like, so, what are the days again? What are you guys doing? It's like Thursday to Monday, right? It's Wednesday to Mondays.
Beats me.
I don't know
Wednesday
what
to
it is.
Monday.
Wednesday to Monday.
Holy crap, that's long. Oh, yeah.
Same time as last year.
Yeah.
Same Monday.
Anywho.
They're going to love it.
Sorry. That just tickled me.
You're going to have so much fun. It's going to be fun.
Okay,
Anybody
we're getting
else?
ahead of ourselves.
We're almost like,
No, we're at the place we should be.
So, who cares?
I'm just saying, like,
No, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be so fun.
Anybody else? Okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right.
Wait.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you said this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but when I was younger, like 18, I thought everyone was saying, speak now or forever hold your peas. Like the little green thing.
The little green things.
things. Not like the vegetables.
Not the vegetables.
things.
Like, you know those little, like, green things? They're, like,
Those little green
circular.
things.
You can eat them.
They're called peas. Like,
That's actually so embarrassing.
the little green things.
So hold your peas.
Oh, I thought that was open. I thought the lid was open.
No.
Sorry. All right.
No, that's
Hold your peas. You know, it's the little green
Hold,
things.
yeah,
Not
we'll
a
put that on a t-shirt. That's Kayla's merch. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
And then in parentheses under it, little green things.
And on the back is just Kayla holding it back in peas.
I don't know why I felt the need to explain that. Like,
Okay, we're good. So, okay.
Ethan,
Yeah.
what are our socials?
Oh
No.
my gosh. How could you forget? Our socials.
how could you forget?
Well, first of all,
Well, first of all,
I just wanna say thanks for-
Ethan, you remember that there are officials.
yeah, you're right. But before we do that, thanks for listening. Thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in. We hope that your Tuesday goes great. And the rest of the week goes great also. And this is the part where I do my outro.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that. We mentioned a lot of things in the last like 2-3 episodes.
Mhm.
So I'm going to extend the invitation to you guys to still reach out.
Forever.
Regardless of if it is on something that we talked about, something you may want to know. Yeah. I don't know why I need to do that, but
Extended warranty.
yeah. No.
Even if you find us like 5 years
Yeah.
from now,
Yeah, literally.
like reach out.
5 years from now, you just stumbled upon this pod. That's so crazy. We're on episode like 300 something.
5 years from now, we're gonna be on way higher than.
Yeah.
Oh wait, because it's only once a week.
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of thrown up. I didn't do
No,
math.
that makes sense. I was
suck at
thinking
math.
how many days there are in a
Yeah.
year, and I was like, Ethan.
Imagine doing this.
52 times 5. That's 5. Dang, we'd be on like 500 and something. Anyway.
In 5 years, yeah. I was like, what are you doing math for?
No,
I'd be like
250.
250. Anyway,
I don't know.
reach
why.
out.
That tickled me. All right.
Wow.
Our officials. Rocky, I thank you. Thank you.
Our
for asking.
No, full send it, baby. Tell them the officials right now. They have to know.
Oh my lord.
I love this. Wow.
Wait, we should be more sleep deprived
No,
before we record.
I can't.
Okay.
I don't think that's legal.
Our socials.
If you
Our
would've said it again, I
socials.
would've been
Rocky, thank
going.
you for asking what our socials are. Our socials are.
Say something one more time.
Our socials
Our
are.
socials.
Socials. What else do you say?
It's the way
Socials.
you say our socials. It's because you've said it like 5 times in a row so that you don't
Anyway.
say officials.
Okay. Our What a Time podcast at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. And we also have a email, which is official.whatatimepodcast@gmail.com. And you guys are able to, first of all, reach out with
Yeah.
anything that you need, questions, comments, concerns, and also
Funny jokes.
funny jokes.
Amen,
And those
amen.
are what?
What? Our socials.
Our socials.
I almost said officials again.
That's
Almost.
okay.
So that's it, right?
Nope.
We need to pray it out.
Yeah. You want to pray it up?
Sure.
All right.
Amen, amen. Look at that.
Not even blinking my eye. Go back to episode 4. She's like, what? No.
No, you're right.
Episode
2.
2.
Maybe.
3.
4.
I feel like it's
It was the
Christmas
Christmas.
episode.
Yeah.
And we said, oh,
What? No, let me do a normal outro
Yeah.
first.
I still haven't done a normal outro.
And that's okay.
Because you don't
I
say
won't,
official, so
yeah.
that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I'll
No, we want you to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
try to pray.
Whoa. Whoa.
You need this-
Whoa. I got this.
Dang!
And I'll be moving seats next podcast.
Next thing, we
Next
have a whole
time,
separate
Ethan just is like sitting there going
Our
like this the
camera
whole
just
entire
died.
next episode.
It's just like, wow.
Our camera
Camera's
died.
dead.
It's okay. Look at how it stopped.
okay.
Look at how it stopped.
Look at
Dang!
Ethan looks pained.
That's going to be the circle on the thumbnail. Disclaimer. It's going to be the circle. I'm going to put a red circle right there.
Please don't.
With arrows going to.
All right, Natalie,
All right.
pray us out.
Pray us
Pray
out.
us out.
Lord, please forgive us.
Oh my word. I don't know how to compose myself.
Compose? Is that the word?
Yes.
Oh.
Pull yourself together, compose.
Oh, yeah.
Like put together.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Anyway. Lord, I just want to thank you for allowing us the space and the opportunity to do what we do. Thank you for this group of people that are sitting here right now. Thank you for the openness and the vulnerability that we can all have, not only with each other, but with those that are going to be watching this. I pray a special blessing over this episode, God. I pray that it will reach the eyes and the ears of those that need to hear it. And I pray that those who hear it in return will have the same boldness to not only reach out, but be able to share their own stories and their own just struggles and where you've brought them from. God, I pray that you will continue to just have your hand with this podcast and on every episode. Let us not forget that you're the reason that we started this. You're the center of this. And so I pray that we will just hold firm to that knowledge and know that as long as we keep you here, you're going to do what you need to do with us. Just allow us to continue being the mouthpieces for you. And thank you again. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks for watching, and we will see y'all next week on time.
You hope.
Monday at 10 a.m.
Amen.
EST. EST.